Hi, welcome back to the Jack and Glenn channel. I'm Jackie.
I'm her husband, Glenn.
He's my husband, Glenn. Yes.
Yes, I am. Hey, before we get started on this Married at First Sight, Season 11, Episode 10 episode, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the bell notification, make sure you check out our couple cam review as it is the season finale. Also, if you enjoy reading books, whether it's listening to them in the car or just reading traditional books, check out our Audible link in the description and get a free 30-day trial of Audible. Okay. Now today's show.
Alright, so we're going to start with the smooth sailing. Amelia and Bennett.
Amelia and Bennett.
They're always so smooth sailing. Such smooth sailing. So we open with them, Bennett's in the kitchen cooking. Well, they're in the kitchen. They're both in the kitchen. Amelia's the one with the pan. Looks like she's making a loaf of some bread.
She says a heart. She
was trying to make it in the shape of a heart. It looked more like a butt, she said.
Yeah, it didn't come out like it was supposed to. It didn't come out right.
No, and so they continued their conversation about the chores. They talked before about doing a chore draft.
This was interesting to me.
I did not expect it to go like this.
I didn't expect the chore draft to go like this neither. I've seen a lot of NFL draft. I've seen a Major League Baseball draft, the hockey draft. I've been in some live drafts. Never seen a chore draft.
Yeah, and speaking of NFL draft, I feel like they did it like an NFL draft. Like, you pick somebody off the board.
Yeah.
I think for me, it would have been better for the chores. Okay, let's turn them all over. And then you pick. Because, she picked stuff like...
Wouldn't that have been a lottery?
I guess so. I think a lottery would have been better than a draft.
Yeah, okay.
So, he said they have different approaches to keeping the house. He's a little more tidy. She's messier.
She's free spirit.
Yes, she's messier. And so when they do the chore draft, off the top she picks to take the difficult phone calls and mail. Like some of these things, I'm like, they're not even chores.
Not chores, dog. They're not chores.
Yeah, difficult calls and math. To answer the door in the middle of the night.
Like.
He picked interloping animals. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
It was weird.
Yeah, some of the things, I'm like, these are not chores. What about, okay, we're talking about cleaning the toilet, cleaning the kitchen, sweeping the floor, vacuuming the floor, taking the trash out. Washing clothes. Putting the dishes away.
Sweeping the floor. You said sweeping, right? Vacuum.
Yeah, changing the sheets on the bed.
Wiping door handles and walls and outlets.
Or something. But anyway, a lot of them weren't chores to me. But anyway, so Amelia's thing, what she said in her little private interview was, she said, with her residency coming up and being that she's going to be the primary money maker, she wouldn't have time to do chores, and she felt like that would probably fall to Bennett anyway. She wouldn't be getting into the chores, which
makes sense.
Which, basically that's what she said her dad did. He was a house dad. He was Mr. Mom, and her mom worked as a doctor.
Well, if you go back to previous episodes, Bennett said he kind of agreed to that. Like, I can stay at home, I can chill, I can, and she said he's real tidy, so he's good with cleaning up and taking care of things. My surprise was Bennett said who's going to clean the bathroom. Bruh's just happy to have a bathroom. Because he was in this tiny house, he didn't have no bathroom or kitchen. So it's like, he's happy to have a bathroom and kitchen in the house, so he want to make sure it stays clean.
But I also feel like his comments about cleaning bathrooms kind of shady, like, because you didn't have a bathroom to clean. Like,
yeah.
For real. But anyway, so then a little later in the episode, we see Bennett cooking dinner for Amelia. He wants to show her some gratitude for taking care of him when he was sick.
He's cooking tofu, asparagus.
Tofu and a peanut sauce. So he's doing like a Thai kind of meal. They like it.
They like Thai food. I'm not knocking tofu. Tofu takes one of those things that take the flavor of whatever you cook it with.
Right.
So whatever you cook tofu with, that's the flavor it's gonna get. So it's gonna be peanut and some asparagus.
Like, yeah. No, it's a peanut sauce. Yeah, but
you're gonna put the sauce on top of the tofu.
Yeah, you mix it and you cook it together. But anyway, so she loves the fact that he fixed her dinner, and then they have guests that come. It's
knock on the door.
Yes, is two of Bennett's friends, but they didn't just come.
They came in like minstrels.
And they came dressed up.
Dressed up like minstrels from 1570, medieval time.
I don't what were they dressed like? I don't know. But they came dressed, and they came to basically serenade and play music for Amelia. This is Bennett's way again of showing his gratitude. And she was in heaven. She had chills. And she just loved the song that they sang. It felt so appropriate.
Yeah, she did. He's being romantic. He's doing the best he can. I don't know about y'all. This episode, to me, looking at Bennett, I thought he looked like Weird Al Yankovic. I don't know, I'm showing my age here, but he looked like Weird Al Yankovic to me on this episode.
Yeah, we were like, okay, well, first of all, this from the last episode, like, you just decided to start growing a mustache. Like, where'd that come from?
Yeah, the mustache, and then one switched to the ponytail.
Yeah, he had two Pippi Longstocking ponytails on the side of his head.
Weird Al Yankovic.
Yeah, Bennett is different. So, like I said, Amelia was very appreciative of that. Mm-hmm. And so then, again, further in the episode, they have some conversations. This whole conversation is about sharing some... talk about intimacy. We're getting into more how do you feel about this, what you like about that. And he says, how would she express that her needs aren't being met? And she said she would just tell him.
Communication, very simple.
Yeah, and Bennett said that jokingly, I'd probably throw a temper tantrum. Like, ha. But Bennett also shared that in this, basically, I'm really feeling Amelia.
Yeah.
On the scale of this to that, he basically was like, I'm feeling really mushy and gooey.
Really gooey.
And to the melting point for Amelia.
Yeah, to the melting point with Amelia. He's at the point where, he's I want to call it like Austin last year. He's really in love with her. Mm-hmm. But he's not willing to say it yet. Mm-hmm. And they're riding bikes together. They're sitting in the park, whatever it was at. I think it's a park. Sitting with each other, and they just really have great conversation and great chemistry. But he did go into what annoys him about Amelia.
Yes. Yeah, after the bike ride, he asked her, is there anything that I've done that's annoyed you? Yeah. And she's like, He was like, well, let me go first. I'm gonna tell you what annoys me about you. You're not as clean as I am, which I have to say this. That surprised me considering he had dirty socks on at the wedding, and one other time in the episode, and he's only got 7. Between the two of them, they have 7 pairs of socks. He has 2 of the 7.
And then if he got his toothbrush when they went to the honeymoon.
Yes. So I was surprised by that.
He likes her armpits hair.
Yeah, I was surprised by that. And so he says his thing is that she doesn't wash the dishes all that well. It's still kind of gritty and grimy on the dishes.
On the outside.
And what Amelia said was... and if I ever meet Ben and Amelia and we ever just go to their house, I'm not drinking out of their glasses.
Just news. Amelia said that I didn't know I was supposed to clean.
I didn't know. No. She said, I'm going to have to start.
I'm going to have to start cleaning the outside of the glass. You're washing the glass in a sink of water. How do you not clean the outside of the glass? We're going to get to whooping later, but my mama would have tore my hide up if she had these glasses. And that
is a part of washing the dishes. You wash... Matter of fact, I mean, the inside is important because of whatever was in there, but the outside is just as important because the lips and hands are all on the outside of the glass. So while you eating your food, you might get some food on your hand. You put it on the glass. Like, I was like, it's not for real.
To this day, I still get the glass and I wash the glass out before I use it.
Absolutely. Like, that whole thing. But, so she still couldn't think of anything that annoyed her. He was like, well, what about the sound I make when I'm cleaning my, when I'm scratching my throat? Or what about the fact that I don't wear deodorant? Sometimes I forget to wear deodorant. She was like, same. What about the fact that sometimes I pick my nose? She was like, I think it's charming.
I think it's charming. Like, dog, y'all y'all like each other. They're like whether it's the funk, the booger picking, and neither one of y'all wear deodorant. You live in Louisiana. It's hot and sticky in Louisiana. They're hot, sticky, and funky with no deodorant.
Gosh. They go. They match.
Hold up. Then if you don't shave your armpit hair and they long and you don't wear deodorant, dog.
It's all sweaty there.
All sweaty
but
there.
I mean, we just got to see more of why Bennett and Amelia were matched. They're like, they could have been matched with anybody else that would be like. Well, I think it's okay if you don't wear deodorant.
Nah, it wouldn't work.
I bet you better wear that deodorant when you go on your residency, ma'am, and when you go see them patients. You better put something up on your arm.
How they say people are meant for each other?
They are absolutely.
They're absolutely meant for each other.
Yes, they're meant for each other. But okay, but they're still smooth sailing because I mean she had no complaints. She was like she's just enamored with Bennett.
She
period.
loves him.
And he is too. He's all mushy and gooey and to the melting point for her. So good for them.
Yeah, good for them.
All right. So where we want to go?
Let's go.
Okay, I think this is smooth sailing, not because they're smooth sailing, but it just wasn't a lot with them. We'll talk about Olivia and Brett.
Yeah, Olivia and Brett wasn't much for them. They wake up early. You know, the alarm Siri goes off. Olivia says she's a serial snoozer.
I don't know anybody like that.
I know somebody like that. You ever see people who set their alarm clock and then you end up cutting their alarm clock off before they cut their alarm clock off? I'm not gonna say any names about people like that.
I turn my own alarm off. Don't be cutting your eyes at me.
No.
I cut.
She's a serial snoozer, y'all.
I set it before I plan to get up. See, that's the difference. Some people set their alarm for when they want to get up. I set it before I plan to get up, so that when I'm ready to get up, when that time comes, I'll get up. Okay?
I'm just
because if I set it for that time, I'm going to sleep over.
So I'm already up. So serial snoozer here, but no.
Anyway,
Olivia,
get off my back.
I'm off your back. And so they talk about chores and you know and they make the bed together, which I was surprised that Olivia, being a nurse practitioner, didn't know how to make a bed. I live with a nurse, y'all, and let's say nurses' corners on our bed.
No, let's see. You didn't even say it right.
Oh, sorry. Hit me up.
They're called hospital corners.
Hospital corners.
They're called hospital corners. If you don't know what a hospital corner is on a bed, look it up. And it's not because I'm a nurse. It's because my mother was a nurse. Still is a nurse. Been a nurse for over 50 years. But the way she taught me to make a bed is the way that she learned in nursing school. You tuck that flat sheet under. You pull that corner up. You tuck it under. Yeah. So it's nice and tight. I can make a bed with 2 flat sheets. Bet you can't do that.
Well, anyway, I'm a military kid. My bed is tight too. Dad made sure of that. But anyway, not like a nurse's bed. But
no.
Anyway.
Side note, I ain't trying to be shady, but I told my husband, I said, because Amelia, he's saying that because Olivia did not make the bed up like hospital corners. And I told him, I said, I think she went right from bachelor's to master's to nurse practitioner. Because I worked as a CNA and a nurse extern. So I've made plenty of beds. I've been a charge nurse and didn't have a nurse's assistant, so I had to make my patients beds. So I've made plenty of beds. So because she's a nurse practitioner doesn't mean she made beds. Sometimes they bypass that.
Okay.
But anyway.
You earned your stripes. You paid your dues. Brush your shoulders off.
Oh, let me pat on the back too. But anyway, so they talk about doing chores and going to the grocery store and, you know, making the bed. And she says getting into the groove, this thing, it's been a little bit harder than she expected.
Yeah, it's been harder than expected because, again, I think it's a bit harder than they expect because of his sarcasm. Because of the way that he likes to do things is not the way that she likes to do things. And she came in with a preconceived notion that, you know, my husband's going to kind of fall into what I want to do because that's what husbands do, or assume that's what husbands do, that they're supposed to at least compromise or meet in the middle. And Brett seemed like he's not budging. But he still likes her.
Yeah.
He still, you know, really want to be with her. So there's not anything that's detrimental. They're not bumping heads and that to the point where, you know, we're not doing this. She just doesn't feel happy or comfortable with him. But, you know, he did something that was, they were able to do together. They go rock climbing.
Which is something he likes to do.
Which is something that he likes to do.
Which we concluded that he obviously budgets for it, and it probably doesn't cost that much.
Yeah, he puts it in the budget. I guarantee that he has a monthly subscription since he goes 2 times a month.
Yeah.
That he has a deal, whatever. And so they went and was kind of encouraging. She was there to help him climb the wall and have conversation, give him instruction, but he did a very good job.
Very good.
When it came to her and giving encouragement and helping her and giving her guidance and direction, which made her feel comfortable as well. And he even let her down nice and smooth. And so he did a good job there. I think, if at this point of the show, Brett and Olivia are doing well.
Yes.
But they come another part of the show that I was like, yo, what? I understand what his feeling is, but she got a problem.
Yeah. And so there's one part where the couples meet together. So we're gonna come to that in a little bit. But later on, so she did something that Brett likes to do, the rock climbing. And so she said, and in turn, I'm gonna invite him out to something that I like to do. And it's trivia night at a bar.
Trivia night. I gotta use quotations.
It's trivia night. And so, she's there with her friends and hey, we're gonna play trivia. And so, Brett's like, I think he's kind of like, okay, we're going to do this at first.
He's a smart guy. He's an IT guy, so he knows a lot of trivia. I'm sure he reads the newspaper, look at things up, so he knows, facts. I'm not going to say weird facts. He knows facts about things.
Right. And so as they get into the first trivia question, it's really, he says it's not trivia. So it's like, okay, so what's one of the Golden Girls? And then the place where the president lives. You put it together. Betty White House. Mm-hmm. And so he's like, it's not trivia. That's his thing. It's not trivia. So, they ask a few questions and he's like, I don't know. He's very non-participatory.
He's not feeling, he's expecting, he's expecting Who Wants to Be a Millionaire type trivia. Jeopardy type trivia. He's expecting, to ask me the question, who's the 45th president of the United States?
He says it's more like Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah, it's more like Wheel of Fortune. So that's what he's anticipating. So his mind, he's kind of let down. He's expecting this thing. First of all, he came, and it's not what he expected. He didn't say, I'm leaving. He just said, I'd rather not say anything bad. I just don't participate.
But in not participating, you said something bad. Because what you have to do as a married couple, sometimes there are things that your spouse prefers that you don't prefer.
Correct.
And so when y'all are you want to come into their world, you want to participate in it. Even though you're not necessarily feeling it, you're like, well, my spouse likes it. It might be shopping.
Yeah.
It might be painting. You put your best foot forward. So he could have said something, interjected every question. He was like, I don't know. I don't have anything to say. I don't have any ideas. Everything. Try to be included in her. Because she climbed the wall. She never climbed the wall before. Never. And it wasn't comfortable. Mm-hmm. So she was expecting him to do the same, and he didn't. And she was so let down. Really?
She was let down. I mean, that's where, as a husband or as a mate or a spouse in a relationship, you got to know what your partner likes. And with this week, if they're communicating, I believe they're in week 3 or week 4 of their relationship. Week 3 of their relationship, you got to be able to communicate. You know what? I'm going to do this for you because again, reciprocate the issue. Reciprocate the love and respect for each other. And as you mentioned, she did it. I did the rock wall. She did it. She didn't complain. So let me do this. At least let me interact.
Right.
And interact and try to engage with her family and friends. That was the other thing too. It was her family and friends. She wanted him to connect with her family and friends.
Right.
Because remember, that was the issue she had before when they talked about him going out with her friends. Because she wanted to just go out with her friends by herself and we do the thing together. But now they're trying to come together. And so he wasn't feeling it. And, and she was upset because he's not feeling what she likes to do. Mm-hmm. All they got in common are cats. They should, one of our, and they should be, you don't see them working out together. I mean, they both, again, to their thing, they say they like working out. Where are the gym time or the communication? Maybe her schedule. They need to work on some of their chemistry. And I think that happens next week when Dr. Viv comes, where they can talk about some of the intimacy things that are not happening. Yeah.
And like I said, we'll get into the couples going together. All right, so next, let's do Amani and Woody. That's pretty
Yeah, we'll do Amani and Woody.
You want to?
Yeah,
we ain't gonna stay long. We're not gonna stay. We're not gonna stay on long. But Amani and Woody, I mean, we love them. They're loving each other.
Woody, we found out Woody's an early riser. Again, back to the clock. Some of us are early risers.
What? No, first of all.
And some of us are late sleepers.
We didn't find it out like that. She said, I found out you're not an evening person.
Evening person.
So, and then she goes on later to say, I just know that I'm going to be up watching movies late by myself. Because he must have fallen asleep on the movie. Do y'all know anybody that does that? That asks to watch a movie and then they fall asleep on it. And then they wake up like they didn't fall asleep. I saw that. You didn't see nothing.
That's what DVRs are for.
No. I'm talking about like, not DVR stuff. No.
Oh, movie theaters?
I mean, you've done it there too. Oh, did I say it was him? I'm sorry.
Oh, my body relaxes sometimes. When you're in a dark room and there's just a little bit of light and there's comfortable chairs.
But you do it at home too.
Like, my couches, the couches
you
are comfortable.
always fall asleep.
The couches are comfortable.
Anyway. So yeah, she said, but he's up 6 o'clock in the morning. She said he's on 10 early in the morning.
It's something about early in the morning, dog.
She's not used to it. So she's like, okay, so you're an early riser. I'm more of an evening person. But they also joked about when they first got up, don't be talking to me, breathing in my face with your funky breath, go brush your teeth, being really playful. And they joke about that. They go to brush their teeth, and so, she's trying to fix her clothes. He said, oh, you trying to tempt me? I see a little bit of flesh. She said, I could just have my ankle out, and that'd be a temptation.
And I was like, yes, Lord. I know that's right. See a little bit of flesh, a little bit of skin. No. And they'd be like, temptation.
No, it don't.
Now, mind you, when I say that my teenage daughter's in the room and she gets so disgusted. She's like, God, dog, Dad, what are you doing? I'm like, I understand the man. The man sees a little bit of skin and he
just really likes his wife. And I think it is. I'm not talking about you.
Oh, sorry.
Not right now, okay?
Okay.
We're talking about Amani and Woody. So he just really likes his wife. And I'm not mad, fast forward just real quick, when he talks to Miles at the barbershop, Miles is like, whoa, if we had made a bet when we first started this, I never would have put money. And Woody said, me neither. I wouldn't have put money on the fact that I would like my wife this much, that I would have loved my wife and say it to my wife. But they really like each other. And I love every minute of it.
Yeah, and you see Woody show his chef skills because he's the one cooking. If you look at most of the episodes, Woody's the one doing the cooking. He's doing the majority of the cooking there. But then they have a conversation. And they have a conversation that comes up because Amani talks about
why he's fixing breakfast.
This is the first time we hear about the coronavirus.
Yes, because she says that hand sanitizer and soap are already on back order. People going crazy.
People going crazy down in Louisiana for hand sanitizer and soap. So we hear about the coronavirus for the first time in the episodes. And so then we go on to talk about, she said, if I would have took my mama cigarettes when I was growing up, I would have gotten in trouble, but not no whoopings because my mama would whoop me. What he said? Shoot, I got a whooping every day.
He said I got spanked.
No,
every day.
No, he didn't say spanked.
I got whooped every day.
Every day. And I can relate to Woody. I got whoopings every day, almost every day. And not because my parents were mean parents or anything like that. Because I was a bad kid. I was just doing stuff every day to get a whooping. And which leads to...
let's not say... We don't call kids bad no more. He was mischievous. He was into a lot of stuff. He did a lot of things.
You're not going to bruise my ego.
It's not for you.
So then the conversation comes up, and which is the major conversation couples have. When we have kids, what are we going to do? Whoop our kids? Or put them in timeout? Or discipline our kids? Now, this is a make or break in relationships for a lot of people. But they had a good conversation about it because she said, Amani was like, you don't do your students like that. Again, I only see my students for 5-6 hours a day.
Right.
My students, if I'm Woody, don't belong to me.
That too.
They belong to somebody else.
That too.
I expect them to come to school already being respectful. Now, if they're not respectful, I'll handle that in a different manner or a different way. And Woody said, I never looked at it like that before. But no.
But we put it in perspective, like you said. Okay, so she said, why do you feel like having your own children, you have to spank them for them to listen and to be obedient? And so she said, you don't do that with your students, and don't they do what you say? But the difference is, as a teacher, it's not my job to rear them or raise them. If I was rearing or raising them, it'd be something different. I just have to deal with them during the school day. And like you said, what I'm expecting is for them to come to me knowing some manners and with some respect. And so that's another reason why you don't spank your students. Plus, it's not allowed. It's not allowed.
No, it's not allowed.
It's not allowed, and they don't belong to you. They're not your children.
But Woody did say there have to be some type of consequences, which I totally agree with. There has to be, when there's an action that is rule breaking, or there's an action that define the rules, there should be some kind of consequence. And I think that because in society now that some people feel like there shouldn't be consequences for their actions, and you get people who feel entitled. You have young men and women who feel entitled, young men and women who feel as if they can do anything. I just hate to see a disrespectful child.
Yeah, and as a side note, this is what I said. I feel like Amani probably didn't get that much spankings because she wasn't that mischievous. She just seemed like an easygoing kind of kid. Like, her parents probably didn't have that much problems out of her. And then the normal problems that you probably have with kids with, lying and sneaking. Yeah. At that point, you're too big to get spanked and whooped, so.
I'm not going to say what you were. Spare the rod, spoil the child. But nonetheless.
Listen.
My
mother did not spare the rod when it came to me. My daughter laughed. She said, I just can't. And my mother was the disciplinarian. It was like, my mother's 83. I can't imagine grandma getting on y'all. I was like, did she? But anyway.
I'm just old school again. It gotta be.
Leave it alone.
It gotta be something there.
We're gonna leave it alone.
Leave it alone.
We're gonna leave it alone.
Leave it alone. Each his own.
Not telling.
Raise your kids the way you raise your kids. And I raised mine the way I raised.
I'm not giving nobody no ammunition to be.
That'll probably be the question of the week this week, y'all. Do you spank your kids?
Did you get whoopings?
Yeah, that's it.
You can do both.
Yeah.
Did you get whoopings, and do you whoop your kids?
Do you whoop your kids? All right.
Or did you choose another route? But anyway, so later on they go out. They go on their date night. Amani said she loves date night. Yeah. They got all dressed up. They look nice. And Amani was, Woody's like, oh, and you look darn good, girl. You look good to me.
It's nothing
tasty.
Nothing wrong with a man. There's nothing wrong with a man loving his wife.
No, it's nothing wrong.
And complimenting his wife about how much he loves her.
Nothing wrong at all.
And what she has on.
Nothing wrong at all.
Because we go to the other relationship where...
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to go to it. So, yeah. And so, he's like, did it put pressure on you with me saying that I love you?
Yeah.
And she was like, well, yeah, it kind of did put pressure on me, that she doesn't want him to fall out of love. So I have to we have to keep it going so that you don't fall out of love. And I want to make sure that before I say it, that my feelings are accurate, that I'm just not speaking, talking out the side of my neck.
Yeah, I mean, she has her feelings, he has it. I don't expect someone after 3 weeks to say I love you, but I do feel like they have that emotion for you.
Oh yeah.
And have that feeling for you. As Miles said it when he talked to Woody, that I love you is a strong commitment, a strong word. And I think after when you get comfortable with someone, and then you can really see you spending the rest of your life with them, you can say you love them. And you really mean it, because it's not just the words to you, but it's the actions that go behind it. Some people say I love you, but don't have no action behind it. And so it's some things that go with it. Got to be the love, the words and the action that go together. Mm-hmm. Because love is actually an action word.
Yeah, and we just love how the producers piece the previews together. Yeah. In the preview when they were talking about, if I tell you this one thing, you can't just leave me. You can't say peace out. They were talking about this when it goes to love and falling out and stuff. And he was just saying that, once we're there, it is a process. If you want to get out of this thing, it's a process. So,
when it's just they did it with Greg and Deanna, you got to fabricate stuff for couples that don't have issues. I mean, be honest. With editing, you fabricated to make it what you want because you wanted people to stay around and watch Woody and Amani. So
yeah. All right. So let's go from Woody and Amani. Do we want to go to Karen and Miles?
We'll go Karen
All
and
right.
Miles.
And so again, Miles and Woody, they went to the barbershop together, and this is one of their hangout places.
Yep.
That's where they go to, and so they had
a barbershop.
You
gotta hang out at the barbershop.
Yeah, and so they have a whole conversation, and like I said, Woody tells Miles, I told her I love her. They never would have thought that it would be there first, and Miles said if I told Karen that I loved her, she would
probably run away.
Run away.
And well, he didn't. He told her he wanted to have sex with her, and she ran away.
The quickest way to scare. We're gonna get to that. The quickest way to scare Karen would be to say I love her.
Yeah.
And Woody's like, wow.
And now, mind you, this is the first time that him and Woody have actually been together by themselves since the honeymoon. So where they can actually sit down and conversate, have a chat. I know the saying is what happened in Vegas stays in Vegas, but they stole that from the barbershop. What happens in the barbershop stays in the barbershop.
Yeah.
The barbershop is a sanctity and a place where people can, where
in
men,
the African American
community where men sit down and relax and have conversation about everything from politics to basketball, about relationships to family to life. It is a solid place and a staple in African American community with the barbershop. So it's like, as my man Luke Cage says, it's like Switzerland. It's everything goes. It's peace in the barbershop.
Yeah. And so, in that, Miles tells Woody about the spat they had about, him making the sex comment and how she didn't come home. And Woody was like, man.
I'd have been blowing Amani's phone up, dog. He said, I would have been, we would have talked that night. One thing I like about Woody doesn't like things to linger. And he said that. He liked to, look, we got an issue. Let's nip it in the bud now, so we can go on enjoying life. And that's one thing I would tell any couple out there: try to nip that thing in the bud quickly, and so you can enjoy life and not being mad at each other. I do understand Karen's side though, when she had to leave, but that's a whole different. That's a podcast. That's a whole different thing about leaving when you're angry, upset, but trying to deal with some things head on. And at least call the man and let him know. You know what, I'm staying in my apartment. I'm staying here. She didn't let him know. He said he woke up in the middle of the night. He already got anxiety, already have issues, and already dealing with. To me, and as I watched this, to me it seemed like that was kind of a little bit of manipulation, because you already know he deals with. He's a pleaser. He likes to please people, and so he hurts you, and then you leave on top of that. That just made his anxiety go up even more. And I guess she looks at it, well, that's not masculine, but that's anybody who's a pleaser. When they feel like they haven't pleased you or made you upset, their job is going to be to try to make you happy again. And that's one of the things I thought she used to manipulate the situation, especially when she came back home. And
that's one of the things that Woody said, that Miles said we're kind of going at her pace. I'm not trying to rush her or whatever, and she moves a little bit slower. Basically because she doesn't want to get hurt. Mm-hmm. And so he's moving at her pace, and Woody's concern is that you're going to move at her pace so much that it's out of your pace and it's going to fall flat. Yeah, because you can't be the affectionate Miles that you want to be because she's moving so slow. And you've paced yourself down really slow. And so from there we transition to Miles and Karen. Like we said, she didn't stay at their apartment that night. She's still upset about the comment that you put on the calendar, which
he said he was joking. He said it was a joke. He said it was in a move. I thought it was joking, and she took it seriously. And that's one again, not knowing your partner. Yeah. I joke all the time. We make jokes all the time. We both joke.
We joke on each other to the point where we've had other people like, you might not want to do that. I was like, hold on, player. You don't know how we work. This is how we do. Right. And we've been doing this for years.
I talk about your mama.
And I talk about yours.
I love your mama.
Right. No, I love your mama too.
I'm about to say, hold on now, don't you do that.
No. I love your mama too. She's something, but I love her too.
I know.
So anyway, so his anxiety is high. She didn't come back. She didn't tell him where she was, and she comes back the next day. Yeah. Later that day, and basically was like, I didn't feel safe. Basically, I felt like you were rushing me, and we're just going to ignore the fact. That's why we felt like it was kind of manipulative. Yeah. It's like she plays it up to try to make him apologize for how he made her feel, but nobody never, which made me so mad. Like, we just going to ignore the fact that you took a stab, you jabbed him and said, no, put on the calendar, Miles will give himself a hand job on so that. Nobody, they didn't say nothing, bro, I'm mad. They didn't say nothing about that.
That was assaulting him. I mean, she jabbed back, and yet he didn't say anything. But that's Miles' character, though. Miles is going to take the blame. That's. I mean, it is. That's his character. I know.
So
he's not gonna rock the boat. He's not going to make anything matters worse. So he's just going to own it. You know what? Change it and deal with it.
Because he said, you know, the one thing that I really dislike is hurting people that I really care about. And so, you know, it bothers me that I hurt her. Yeah. And on the flip side, while she's talking, you know, in her own space, she says, yeah, I don't know if we could get past this. She comes back, I felt unsafe. And I'm like, it caught her off. She said it caught her off guard. She didn't mind him talking about intimacy. She just didn't like the way he approached it. And I'm like, which part did you not like? Because I felt like he was very nice when he started the conversation about intimacy. So the part that you just didn't like is when he was like, when she was like, oh no, you know, we'll get to that. No, we not. And he was like, no, I don't know about that.
But you can tell why she only had 2 relationships and the amount of time
Which is what I said.
Because she moved in all. I just assumed that she moved slow in all these relationships. And I'm not saying it's right.
And she put more time into it than she probably should have.
Put some more time in the relationship and the guys who hurt her. And then Miles says later when he talks to Woody that she's been hurt. Mm-hmm. So he knows she's been hurt. And that's why he's willing to take it slow with her, because he doesn't want to be the guy to hurt her.
Yeah.
And so he has to be careful. And I'm not saying she's trying to manipulate on purpose, but he has to be careful knowing that he knows this. He knows her baggage. And she knows that he is very caring, that she doesn't use the manipulation to control the situation.
Yeah. Yeah, because she said basically it was like, we just kissed and now here you are talking about sex. It's like, you rushing me, but you're not rushing me. It's like, anyway, but he apologizes. She says it's a boundary to her and it can't happen again. But then, after he apologizes, you know, then she says, in the spirit of forgiving, I'm willing to try to get closer. So I'm like, you made him apologize for that.
Again, it's manipulation.
But then you turn around and say, I'm going to work to try to get closer to you. Which is going to make him feel like, again, he wants to have sex with you, but you put him on hold. So you're going to do things that make him more attracted to you, to make you want to get to that place of intimacy, but you also don't want him to get to that place of intimacy.
It's on her terms. Again, it's on her terms. She wants to do it on her terms. And so with her coming back, the thought she had, and I guarantee you, just based off of who she is, and we might not have seen it, she called her mama. And she talked to her mama, and her mama gave her some advice, and so that's why she came back with a new mindset. All right, let me try this. Baby, do this. And now she's doing what she needs, and she's old school, so she's trying. She likes Miles, and we've seen in the episode when go on, she really likes Miles, so she's willing to work this thing out. She just wants Miles to move at her pace. She wants Miles to do it the way that she wants to do it, and not maneuver in his own way.
And then she puts it into action with Miles and Karen go out to the park to play bocce ball with Amelia and Bennett. And so Bennett has this bright idea that, well, what does the winner get? We need to come up with some prize for the winner. So whoever the winner is, let's say you get to be kissed in wherever you say you want to be kissed.
And Amelia ended up kissing Ben's belly button.
But everybody won. So I think Bennett had to kiss Amelia's arm, and then Karen had to kiss Miles on the forehead, and then they had to pick an overall winner, and the overall winner was Miles. And so he said, I've had on my forehead, I had on my nose, I had on my cheeks. So Bennett was like, just go for the gusto. How about a kiss on the lips?
Kiss on the lips.
And so she gives him a kiss on the lips.
Yeah.
After all that, making that poor boy feel bad.
Yeah, but then she's at least she's opening up, because I was getting ready to put her in the category of Iris, not in a bad way, but she's opening up, because then they go to the yoga spot and she really kind of let loose when she massaged his feet, massaged his back, she rubbed inside of his thighs. She rubbed on it all over the place. And so you can see her open it up and she's trying. And I think that was the issue before. She wasn't willing to try. And again, I told you, and her mama gave her some advice. And so it is what it is. Mama gave her some advice. I don't know if it's
her mama. Her mama seemed kind of stiff.
Somebody gave her advice.
Yeah.
And so now she's opening up and she's relaxing and she's calming and she's being more intimate with Miles to get to know him. Even to the part where he was like, "Yo, we gonna snuggle in bed." She like snuggle with things.
Yeah, because they talked about favorite colors and do you have a birthmark and do you like snuggling? Yeah. I like snuggling with you, you know. And so and he was like, "You gonna snuggle now or later?" She tried to play like, "Girl, snuggle with that boy." Snuggle.
It was me.
Spoon him.
If it was me, she kept throwing my arm off the bed every night.
Spoon him.
Yeah, just snuggle, man. Ain't nothing wrong with a good snuggle every once in a while with him and her. So, you know, she's open. I can see her opening up. At the beginning of the episode, I wasn't a Karen fan because I'm like, "Girl, you crazy." Because all of her little stuff that she did in her little interview. But as the show progressed, I'm like, you know what? She's opening up. She's relaxed. She's trying. Mm-hmm. And as long as Miles trying with her and they both trying, I think they're going to be okay.
Yeah. Right. And so last but not least, we got Christina and Henry. Yeah. And so with them, we see Christina and Henry talking about that their relationship, the marriage is not the fairy tale that they thought it would be. Yeah. And for them, they deal with the chores too. Talk about folding towels, which I have hospital corners and towel folding. We had to do that.
I had to learn how to fold towels all over again when I got married.
Yes.
The way I folded them is not the way that we folded them. Well, why I folded them growing up is not the way I fold them now.
No.
And not the way I fold underwear now.
No.
And yes, I do, because we talked about undies, because Amelia told Bennett, I just fold your underwear, all 3 pair. But no, I fold undies as well. So, and I fold them the way that she likes to have them folded.
He can fold his however he want, but anyway, you know, it's not the fairy tale they thought it would be. We go from there to when they had the dinner with everybody all together. Mm-hmm. And so that was, well, not everybody. It was Christina and Henry. It was Olivia and Brett and Amani and Woody. And they all go out to eat. They're eating crawfish. And, you know, Brett and Olivia talk about how they're increasing in like more and more to get more comfortable with each other. Woody and Amani said they're having more conversations, you know, more deeper conversations. Oh. And for Christina and Henry, they said they're getting better. Mm-hmm. You know, he had felt a lot of pressure trying to navigate through what's going on with them. And they said they had to take a little time with each other and get to know each other and date each other. That's the way they want to go with it. And
Christina has some big news.
Well, before that, though, you know, their whole interaction while they're talking, Woody was like, you know, pleasantly surprised. He was like, they look like they're doing a whole lot better than they were at first. Because at first, everybody was like, I don't know about this.
Like, this ain't going to make it.
Yeah, and so, Christina has an announcement crazy.
That she told everybody that she's pregnant.
How?
In a commercial break. Now, this got me to...
Psych your mind!
Then she talked about how she was drinking. What got me to thinking, though, what would happen, married at first sight, because they date before shows.
Yes.
That you're married, and then your spouse that you marry find out that they're pregnant in the midst of y'all 8 weeks.
I don't know. That's crazy.
I wonder if they make them take a pregnancy test beforehand.
I don't know.
I wouldn't, because that'd be talking about drama. Talking about interesting television.
Yeah.
If one of your spouse was pregnant, man, that would be great.
Well, they had not Married at First Sight, but there was a show about something like that. You know,
but that would be great.
But anyway, so
she's joking, she's playing around, which is good to see. Good to see a different side of her. Henry's sitting there like, what's she talking about? Not mine. Oh. You know.
But Christina and Henry, they explained to the other couples that we had some time where I went to do something that he liked to do as far as golf, and he was a good teacher. He taught me how to play golf, and he complimented her. She was really good at picking up at it. And then they said they went salsa dancing, and Henry says that
she's sexy.
Yeah, the way she moved was sexy. Was sexy. She picked it up real good. He liked it, and everybody was like, "Oh, he said sexy." But we find out later that Christina's like, oh,
he didn't tell me that.
first time I'm hearing it. If you felt that way, first time I heard it.
He doesn't feel comfortable talking to her.
But he
like
should.
that.
Why would you feel comfortable telling other people, but you can't tell your spouse?
Because you're in this group setting, and now everybody else talking about their relationship. And you know what Henry said? You know what? Next time I come to this, I'm gonna have something to say. And you think about go back and look at the other ones when they had group setting. How he's just sitting there like, boy, I can't wait till it's over. This time he's had something to say. You know, we went salsa dancing, and guess what? Her moves were kind of sexy.
Yeah, he says I like her. You know, we're attracted or whatever.
Then things take a turn for the worse.
Yeah, because Henry and Amani go off and have their own little conversation.
Christina asked Amani to go have a conversation with Henry about their relationship and what they expect, and what Henry said was that he didn't like her because, as we thought, because of being impatient.
Yeah, it was a turn off.
It was a turn off for him. It was a turn off for him, and if she doesn't,
impatience, her attitude with production, and her rudeness towards them.
And if he doesn't change, it's a 0% chance of them sticking together.
Yeah,
and
he said she has gotten better.
Yeah, she gotten better.
But yeah, that's an obstacle that he's trying to overcome.
And I like Amani because she went back and she didn't say it the exact same way he said it. She changed it up a little bit, but nonetheless, Christina got the message, and so she ended up having a conversation with Henry when they got back home about what he said to Amani.
Because she felt like he was giving mixed messages. Yeah. Again, you're saying these things to other people, but you don't even say it to me. Yeah. And while you're talking about my impatience, and if you can't get past my attitude and my rudeness is a deal breaker. Well, for me, communication is a deal breaker. If you can't communicate with me and tell me what's going on, that's a deal breaker for me.
And then she asked Henry the question that we saw in the edit, the cliffhanger, whatever you want to call it, the preview. Make a decision. don't drag me along. Basically, we're gonna make a decision. And he's like, well, and I'm sitting there like, but don't say no, dog. I'm like, dog, don't say no, because if you say no, then we're gonna have another issue. Say, if it doesn't work out, we gotta figure this out. If you don't do this, but Henry fixed it, and he fixed it, and he said no, but he said but I'm willing to try and make it work.
Yeah, but I think his no was, I don't really want to, I'm not going to say no.
Yeah.
That I'm not going to answer that question. No, I don't want to answer that question. Because she says she feels like I need clarity. I'm asking you straight up. I feel like you dancing around the subject, and it's like
being
you don't
a good
want
guy for the camera.
Yeah, you don't want to look like the bad guy. And she was like, if you wanted to follow me, I'll be that.
And guess what, Christina? You're doing a good job at that.
No, she's ever since she's been taking her meds, I think she's been doing a whole lot better. I think she's been doing better. But he was like, I'm willing to work at it. I've taken the time to try to change my mindset this week. And again, she says, we got to communicate, be able to talk to me.
Yeah. And
they start where I think some of the other couples go a little bit later in the next episode. They have these questions in the bowl that they have to answer, and her fear was, it's like, what do you fear in this? And she was like that, I wouldn't be able to have fun with you like I'm used to having, it wasn't gonna be fun. And so then, he was like, okay, yeah, I get that. And then the next question was, what is it that you can promise me?
And what did he say?
He said, I can promise you I'm going to give you respect.
Yeah, I can promise you
and I'm
respect.
going to put the effort in.
Put the effort in and respect. And his effort isn't, being quiet. Well, he's not. He is going to respect her. He's getting better. He has been respectful to her, but I think he's getting comfortable. Mm-hmm. And what happens, he's letting her walls down, and she's showing a different side. So because she's showing a different side, he's showing a different side as well. And so you can see the communication coming between those two. And as we said, that was a moment for him to either hold her hand, give her a hug, give her a kiss, or something.
Well, yeah, especially after the next question is like, what do you want? Why do you want this marriage to work? She says, because I want to be in a relationship with somebody that was a good person.
For a good person.
And she's seeing now, that he's a good person, why they've been matched. I can see that in you. And it was a tender moment.
Yeah.
And they both missed it. She could have been the aggressor, and
but she doesn't like to be the aggressor. And Henry's not the aggressor. So she needs to take the lead
Yeah.
At some point, take the lead.
She
So let Henry
reach for his hand
but
or something.
And taking the lead, not to be the lead always, but taking the lead to let Henry know it's okay. Be comfortable. Even if she'd have took Henry's hand and been like, it's okay, Henry. I mean, anything. You know, to go in for a hug or whatever. She needs to kind of guide him a little bit so he becomes comfortable. Because we see when he becomes comfortable, he's willing to take the lead.
Yeah.
So he's not comfortable yet with the intimacy piece.
But I'm hoping they'll get there. And definitely from this episode, we didn't do this last time, but we'll rate the couples. Our ratings have changed.
Yes, they've changed a little bit.
Our ratings have changed. And so I still say that Amelia and Bennett and Amani and Woody, for me, they're both tied for first place.
Yeah.
They are first and second place. Okay. And so next, I'm saying it.
Go ahead.
Christina and Henry have moved up on the list for me based on this episode.
Okay.
They moved up. And I would almost kind of say, except for the conversation with him and Amani, that he didn't really share with Christina. I almost would say like Christina and Henry and Miles and Karen are kind of neck and neck, because I didn't like that whole thing with Karen and feeling unsafe and basically making him apologize. So that took her down a notch for me. So they're kind of running neck and neck, and Olivia and Brett, for the first time ever, they're at the bottom of my list.
Yeah, I think Olivia and Brett's at the bottom of my list. I think I give Henry in a bottom 5. Number 5, Olivia and Brett. Christina and Henry, number 4. Miles and Karen, 3. But Henry and Christina's closing in. I'll give Amelia and Bennett number 2, and Woody and Amani number 1. That's what I give. So let us know your top 5 as of this week. What do you like? What you didn't like about this week's Married at First Sight? Also, please make sure you answer the question. This week's question. You know, how do you discipline your children? It's just one of those simple questions. I'm interested to see how you guys discipline your children. Also, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell notification. Also, make sure you follow us on Instagram. The handle's right there. Make sure you follow us on Instagram. Also, make sure if you read books, like reading books, listening to audiobooks, check out the Audible description in the link. Make sure you click there, and also check out the Couple Cam review, because the Couples Cam review from last week, because next week we'll have a season finale of Couple Cam, Couples Cam.
So thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us, and thank you for all y'all who liked our picture of us going out on our first date since COVID-19. We had a good time, and we did do social distancing, and we did sit on a patio.
Absolutely.
And the food was great.
It was delicious.
Delicious. But thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.